Jonathan, hiring a contractor requires an incredible amount of trust. Like you're giving somebody access to your home, you're giving them money, and sometimes the largest investment your family owns. But most homeowners don't know enough about construction to recognize whether or not they're hiring the right person until something's already gone really wrong. So what's the biggest red flags homeowners tend to overlook when choosing a contractor?
I think the main one is really the cost factor. Cheaper isn't always better. They're price shopping. And so they think, oh, if I got this lowest price and I've gotten 3 estimates, that I'm good to go. And that's just not the case. Looking at the Better Business Bureau, looking at reviews, doing your research on the company. And really what I would say too is if you're not getting this referral from a trusted person that you know, it really is like, I don't want to say a bad decision, but it is a risky decision because you have you have no backstory, no history of what this person has really done. And I say that like the Better Business Bureau is a great place that nobody overlooks. You could see a company that has great reviews. Like we were looking at a client the other day, they called me and they were like, hey, Jonathan, I'm looking for the lowest price. And I'm like, if you're looking for the lowest price and that's what you're going to be your deciding factor, then what I would suggest is give me all your bids. Let me review those for you. I'm not going to waste time because if I can beat those bids, then I can. But if not, at least I can point you in the right direction. So
I like that.
We had a conversation. And basically, when I started looking at his lowest bid, he's like, this is the one that I'm planning on going with. I go, okay, let me do my research. So then I started going to the Better Business Bureau reviews. And I said, man, this company has 14 complaints on the Better Business Bureau. Did you know that? No, I didn't know that. And so, right there, we actually ended up winning the business. I was more expensive, but just through that consultative approach that we have really, because at the end of the day, Mike, like I want my customer to make the best decision for them. I've had that situation go the other way where they send me the reviews and they send me all the estimates and I'm like, you have the best price. I can't beat it. Yep. And it's a solid company. I've done the research for you. Go ahead with that.
I don't want to waste your time or mine.
Exactly, 100%. So
what's the one question they should ask before signing anything?
I would ask, what's the most important thing for you, Mr. Contractor? Like, what do you value the most? And just interview them because you really don't know who you're talking to. I could come in with a sly sales pitch and razzle dazzle, but if you really want to work in this business, truly, you want to work with someone who cares.
Yeah.
That's going to stand by their work. Truly. That is the biggest thing because when something goes wrong, and it will, because we're in construction, it's how is the contractor going to respond to the situation, right? Mm-hmm. That's the biggest thing, really. You want to know who you're working with at that level. Because at the end of the day, when something goes wrong, that's when you're going to find out who you're working with.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the tough part.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Leverage Lounge. I'm Mike Collier. Today, I'm joined by Jonathan Uriciolo, general contractor and founder of Kingdom Construction Group. Jonathan has built a business around helping Central Florida homeowners with renovations, roofing, HVAC, windows, doors, upgrades, in the complicated process of finding trustworthy professionals. But today's conversation is about more than just construction. This is about trust, leadership, faith, partnerships, and what it really takes to build a company that's capable of delivering on its promises. So Jonathan, welcome to the Leverage Lounge.
Thanks, Mike. It's an honor to be here. Appreciate the warm introduction. And I'll say, man, since we've met, you have done so much for me in my business, and I really appreciate our friendship, man.
Hey, man, you know what? It's easy to refer companies that are the real deal. You mentioned it before, right? People who have the heart and who could back up what they say they can do. And if something goes wrong, which it hasn't yet, but again, it's construction, like you said. If something goes wrong, you know that it's a stand-up person that's going to do the right thing.
100%.
Now, before we talk about the company, take me back. How did you first get into construction?
Oh, man, that's a wild question.
Uh-oh. What were you doing before you became a contractor?
I was a devout Buddhist at the time. I was into shamanism and some very new age practices before I got into this. Like growing up as a kid, my dad's an AC contractor of 40 plus years. So when I was a kid, I was doing construction, but then I kind of went wayward, went on my own path and started to try to discover myself and got into psychedelic experiences and shamanism and Buddhism. And then all that led me, actually had an encounter with Christ. And 2019, everything changed. Yeah, man, changed my life. I was living with a drug dealer in Kissimmee and actually ended up moving to Apopka, and I started selling solar and selling roofs and got into construction sales. And like the Lord just totally shifted things around for me.
We're going to title this From Selling Bath Salts to Solar.
You could totally pull that off. For sure. It's not far from the truth at all, man.
That's so funny.
Yeah, man.
So do you remember your first construction project where you were like, man, I really know what I'm doing now. Like, I got it.
Yeah, I think that happened a few years ago after we started rolling. Like I said, I started off in solar and then roofing, and then we started doing like full remodels, bathrooms, kitchens. And obviously, I have a partner who's a general contractor, 40 years in the business. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not out here trying to figure this out on my own. I have really people that are tried and true, and I'm leaning on their expertise. And I have a couple of those, not just one. So depending on what the project is, depending on what the scope is, I can pivot, pull knowledge and wisdom from different people that are in our sphere and be able to serve our customers at that capacity.
Love it. What did the early years teach you that a classroom or certification couldn't have taught you?
It really was, we did make some mistakes in the construction process, dealing with people's homes and real life, like on the job training. We're like trial by fire. I will say
there's no practice in this game.
No. And in construction, man, when you're dealing with 7, 8, 9, 10 different subs, and you're dealing with customers and you're dealing with their houses, and this is their baby and their home, and there's a lot of factors. But I think the biggest thing is just really standing by my word and what is told to my customers. And really just, it's one thing to say, oh yeah, we're going to do the right thing when it matters. But when all of a sudden you're hit with a $10,000 change order, that's your fault. What are you going to do then? Right. Or you find out some information. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, this was 2 years ago. I was doing a tile roof in Windermere. They had solar. So we did a detach and reset of the solar, new roof. And because I'm a roofer, we spec'd a specific bracket for this roof, for the solar panels. And this is 2 days before Christmas Eve. I'm on vacation. The roof's done. The brackets get sent out. Now, I already worked with my sub. I already had the brackets spec'd. I already had the customer signed off on which brackets we're going to use. I come back from vacation. I get on the roof, and 90% of the wrong brackets have been installed on this roof. Penetrated, installed, and I'm like, okay, this is not what I wanted. The customer doesn't know. They're not on the roof. But I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I have to rip all these brackets off and do a change order. So what do? I go to my solar partner and I'm like, look, here's the documentation. These are the specs that I wanted. You guys sent the wrong brackets out here and you installed the wrong brackets. What are you going to do for me? And basically they told me to go pound sand. And so I told my wife, we talked about it and pulled out the credit card, which I didn't have 10 grand at the time for the change order, but I just pulled out the credit card and paid for a $10,000 change order 2 days before Christmas Eve in 2023, because the customer is not getting what we told them they're going to get. And that's just not who we are. You know what I mean? I can't do that and sleep at night. So
how did that work out?
It worked out. We got it done. I got out of debt eventually, and the Lord works all things together for good, right? You know what I mean?
Isn't that the truth? Did you have a mentor? Like, did anybody mentor you in those early days?
At the early days, no. That was actually right before we started getting mentored by the bigger names in general contracting in Central Florida. I've got actually 3 GC mentors now. One's 40 to 45 years in the game, family-owned business, multi-generational general contractor. And then we got another one who does commercial, and then another one who builds tract homes, like 200, 300 tract homes at a time. Oh, wow. So we have a very robust wisdom pool to pull from if we need it.
Yeah. I mean, construction requires technical knowledge, but it also requires communication, leadership, problem solving, emotional control. Which part has been the hardest to master, building the project or managing the people that are involved?
I would say managing the people, like you just said, your emotions, because you're going to get squeezed. It can get stressful. You know, it's not always the easiest thing dealing with customers and making them happy. I would say that's easier. The harder thing is finding the right partners, finding the right vendors that are going to stand by their word of what we talked about and back me up, because I'm the kind of person, I'm going to eat my mistakes no matter what. It's just what it's going to be. If we made a mistake, we're going to own it and move forward. But if I have vendors, that solar vendor's no longer with us, right? I have an electrician that very similar situation. He got himself to a situation that was his fault, didn't want to accept responsibility. He's no longer with us. And so I'm going to weed out the partners that are not going to serve our customers at the level that we want to serve them at. And that's fine. But that is really, I think that's the hardest part, is in emotionally dealing with them and in love, with respect, but also doing the right thing across the board. You know what I mean?
You and your wife, Kristen, ultimately founded Kingdom Construction Group. Well, let me back up. You mentioned that you had an encounter with Christ in 2019.
Yeah.
And then did you have that encounter before you built Kingdom
Yeah.
Construction Group? Okay.
Before, yeah.
So before, and then you and Kristen ultimately founded Kingdom Construction Group.
In
What
22.
problem did you believe needed to be solved?
That's a great question. I think, our slogan is raising the standard in home improvement. And my wife actually used to lay tile, bathroom tile. She used to do bathrooms. We just have a ridiculously high standard of how things should be done. And I think that speaks volumes when people interact our company and they interact with us and they interact with the finished product, right? Like that's the goal. It's like, there's a lot of contractors in Central Florida. That standard's not there. The value for them is different. It's how much money can I make on this project? How quickly can I get this done to get on to the next one?
Is it because the barrier to entry is so low? Like you don't have to do a lot to be a contractor in Florida? Because I know it's harder in some states than others. Why is that?
I think there's a few factors there. I think one, it's the heart of the individual that's leading the charge for those companies. Like what's their value proposition? The other thing too is like, for example, my dad, he's from Maryland. So like in Maryland up north, there's a union. What that means is like when my dad learned how to be an AC technician and install AC units and all that stuff, the union sets the bar of the standard of how construction's done. So basically, like every single AC contractor that you're going to experience in Maryland is going to have the same level of technical knowledge, the same protocol on what needs to be done a certain way, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so down here, we don't have that. So you could have Chuck in a truck who learned how to wire up an AC unit in the field. Never went to tech school at all. So there is a huge disconnect of the level of standard down here. My dad said it as soon as he moved his business down here when I was 15 years old. He was like, I've never seen anything like this, because he's working with other contractors and he's like, nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody like actually knows there's like a protocol. You can't just like skip this step and go to this step because down here in Florida, it's like, I say this all the time, it's like the Wild Wild West in construction, basically. And so that's a big thing right there, is the inconsistency among the workers. Where are these people coming from? Where do they get their training from? And then, of course, like I said, the heart behind what's driving the motivation to actually do the work.
So how'd you choose the name Kingdom Construction Group?
I was working for a company called Hero Construction Group before we launched Kingdom, and they were doing everything that we're doing. And unfortunately, that company just ended up going out of business. It didn't work out for them. And I loved what they were doing. I was selling all different kinds of construction products, from windows and doors, HVAC, plumbing, electrical. But I was like, man, there's a better way to do this. And I started just taking that model and reconfiguring it. And I was in the shower one day praying, and then the Lord just dropped Kingdom Construction Group. And it's like, as a man of faith, the ways of the kingdom are higher. Mm-hmm. There's a higher standard. There's a higher level that needs to be communicated. Like we're supposed to love everybody as best as we can.
Yeah.
Speak the truth in love. And so like that's the DNA of our company. We're trying to exemplify Christ. We're trying to be kingdom minded, and people are hopefully, when they're experiencing us, they're experiencing God. They're experiencing a piece of his kingdom.
I love that. What it also dictates is how you also have the heart of your business. For instance, the heart of your business is ownership. I think it's different from if you have the heart of a steward. When you have a kingdom mindset, then you understand that you're stewarding the business and the people that God is bringing into your circle.
Sure.
And so if it's his business and it's his people, his children that you're serving, then you should be serving them at a higher level. It's not yours, right? Like if I let you borrow something, I hope that you're going to take better care of it than you might take care of your own stuff because it's mine. I love what you're saying with that. Did you always intend for the company to serve several areas of home improvement, or did that just kind of evolve? Well, I guess you said you were already doing that same thing. Hero Construction.
we were in the same vein of construction. What really launched our business was right before we launched in 22. I met a realtor who needed a roof replaced, but they needed the work done and they needed us to be paid at closing. When I saw that, I was like, wow, this is amazing that this even exists. And at the time, I was just only doing roofing. I saw the need in the real estate market, specifically for sellers and for agents and mortgage brokers that are dealing with these issues in the sale of their home and have to have these construction upgrades. And this is what started like the real estate rescue program that Kingdom Construction Group rolled it out in 2023. And so that started off as just roofing, but then it started to evolve. I met with someone in the business who's an insurance agent who actually does CE courses and teaches on these issues that they run into on the insurance side, electrical, plumbing. And he was like, Jonathan, if you don't start doing all this, you're missing out. Like, find a way to serve these customers by hitting all the issues that they're faced with. And so now it's evolved tremendously. We've done so many things. I mean, I could tell you story upon story of just out of the box deals that we've saved for real estate agents with this program that we're just like, I'm working on one right now. I've never had to deal with it before, but I know we're going to find a solution and they're going to be able to close. Like I already know we are, but it's just so interesting. Like as the more I'm in this business, the more I'm like, man, this is so valuable what we're doing to be able to come in and solve these really out of the box problems that these agents are dealing with.
So let's talk about this Realtor Rescue Program. We got a lot of agents who listen to this podcast. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that, how it evolved and what it truly is and how you're helping agents in our community.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So the Real Estate Rescue Program was actually birthed out of seeing a need in the marketplace where agents are dealing with closing issues like roofing, plumbing, electric. It could be pool, septic, well. We have over 20 vendors, right? And so really the biggest, most utilized service that we offer is our paid at closing. Basically, the deal is we can do any repair that's needed with zero money out of pocket to the seller and get paid at closing as long as that house is under contract. Example, realtors in the inspection period, polybutylene plumbing, needs a new roof. We have VA issues, there's WDO issues, all kinds of stuff happening. And really, the realtor kicks it to me. There's like a 26 item addendum list, for example. I quarterback the whole thing, get all the subs on board. We have all the partners that are willing to get paid at closing and wait for their funds. And so we go and execute and save that deal, right? So for example, we had one 3 weeks ago. It was a roof, plumbing, WDO. We facilitated the buy and the sale side, which is amazing. I don't know of any other company that's doing that. And so basically they're getting a white glove treatment. I'm coming in and saying, okay, like you need a new roof, seller, this is how much I can charge you for that, the lowest price. Then I go to the buyer side. Hey, here's some upgraded warranties. Do you want to pay for those? What color do you want your roof to be? Do you want gutters? I'm facilitating the deal.
A true consultative sales approach.
Exactly.
For both sides of the transaction. I love that.
Exactly. Because the seller doesn't care. They're just trying to check a box. The buyer cares tremendously. So we actually had a rotted vanity. We were able to show them vanity options, different types of quartz tops. And the buyer was very happy. She's like, Jonathan, I've never worked with someone more communicative. Thank you for like just being there for every detail, making sure that all the stuff that she wanted on the side of the deal was taken care of. So that's really like the Real Estate Rescue Program in a nutshell is the paid at closing. And then we do other services. We buy and flip homes. And so we put investment offers together for realtors if they need a cash offer. We do pre-listing rescue where we have funding available. So the seller doesn't have funds, but they want to make the house aesthetically pleasing to get it on the market. Then we have an option for that as well. So I always say, if the realtor's facing any problem, just call me and let me see what I can do for him.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you can kind of put it into three different boxes, right? It's the seller who's like, hey, I just want cash fast. Just give me a cash offer as is. And you're coming in with this like investor offer. And then there may be, it sounds like with your consultative sales approach, the second box could be, well, it does need some work, but before I give you this cash offer, let me show you what you can do, at least in order to have some money in your pocket at the end of the day, right? To add some value to the home. We don't have to make it amazing, but we do need to check these boxes so that it could at least get financing. So that's the second box. And then you can have the third box where it does go all the way and you try to really pump up the value so that they can sell it for the top dollar on the market, right? You're able to have all of those conversations with the homeowner, and the agent is able to just bring you into the equation, right? You're one call away. They don't have to call all the different trades. They call you.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. And that's the value. That's the value that we bring. I mean, if you want your time back as an agent and you don't want to be dealing with all this stuff, I'm the best person to call for the job so I can quarterback everything for you. If you want to play GC and you want to find the plumber and the electrician and the roofer and do all that, that's okay too. If you feel like you're serving your customer from that perspective and getting them a better price, then more power to you.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not even just about the price, man. It really comes down to liability too. Like if you're the one who's, hey, this is my guy, you should use my guy, you know, and your guy is Chuck with a truck, like you said, you know, and something goes wrong, they're going to be looking at you like, hey, man, you're the one who gave me this recommendation. So let's educate the homeowner who's considering a renovation. Before they contact a contractor, what should they already understand about their own project?
It's a great question.
Like, should they begin with the firm budget, outcome, architectural plans? Like, what do they need to have?
Yeah, I think budgeting is one. Definitely I think really is a free consultation with us or whoever their trusted contractor is before they even get into it, because there's just things that they're not even thinking of. Like we had a customer yesterday, we went out to her house and she's trying to sell and she's like, I need new floors and I need paint. And I'm like, okay, like you have stuff all over this house. And like, I can't do that work until this stuff's gone. And she didn't even think about that. She's like, well, I have to stay here because I don't have a place to live. And I'm like, well, let me talk to your realtor. Do you have family in town? Like, let's put a plan together to actually execute this the right way, because you have a dog and you have a child that's actually destroying your property and you're trying to put this on the market to sell it. It's really just like letting an expert come in who has the knowledge and experience to help them plan. Because it's not just the budget, it's the timeline, it's material type, it's like, what's the vision, right? And then how do we get from A to Z? And it's really helping them paint that picture for them so that they can actually execute. Because a lot of times what people believe in their mind is not actually truth. It's just kind of an idea. And then they get the wake up call like, oh my God, I'm not ready to do this yet. I had no idea, right?
Yeah. How do you help them to decide whether their expectations are even realistic?
I think really just sitting down, listening to them, and then trying to get them from A to Z based off like, okay, like I hear what you're saying. Here's what's going to have to take place. You need permits for this, or you don't need permits, or this material that you want is like 8 weeks out. Did you know that? You want this to be done in 3 months. You know, like
timelines.
Yeah. So many factors. And on our end with the timelines, man, we're very, very resourceful. Like I've saved deals that we had like a 7-day turnaround. The one I'm talking about right now in Titusville, this is one of those. I'm going to find out today if we're going to be able to save it or not within the timeline so they can close on Friday. So it's just like we are resourceful. Wow. We can get things done, but it's just knowing what you need so that we can serve you at that capacity, right?
But why do construction estimates sometimes vary so dramatically between contractors?
Well, that's a great question, Mike. There's a couple factors. One of them, and a lot of people don't know this. So like, if you're getting a quote from a handyman, for example, that's a huge one that a lot of people in Central Florida don't know. They're like looking at this project over here earlier today, and the guy's like, well, my handyman said I could do it for $600. I'm like, yeah, but your handyman has no insurance. Your handyman's supposed to be only doing contracts up to $1,500. 600 times 31, that's a lot of, he has 31 different units. It's over $1,500. So they're right there operating illegally. So you have these handyman quotes, which this is rampant in Florida because there is no union, because we don't have a standard. Like people are just like, oh, I can fix this or I can fix that. I was in a house yesterday where this guy told this homeowner, she's like, oh, I can patch drywall. And I'm looking at the drywall patches and I'm like, man. And the homeowner's like, I could have done a better job. So it's like, you get what you pay for. And in Florida, in construction, it's just like, it's a huge no-no. So like you have that layer of it, right? That the handyman layer. Then you have the general contracting layer. So some GCs are going to charge like 50 to 60% on top of the entire job cost because they have higher overhead. For example, like trucks, office expenses, workers' comp, general liability, all these things. People they really don't understand general contracting. Like you can't compare handyman to GCing.
That's right.
Like when I'm spending $50,000 a year as a workers' comp insurance, for example, as one of my partners is paying, for example, like that's just insane to have that level of overhead and then do work for nothing. And then there's risk. There's a risk involved of something going wrong, of someone getting hurt. And like, so all this has to be taken into account because if I'm doing a job and I'm barely breaking even, or I'm barely being profitable and then something goes wrong that is unforeseen, that's on my end, I'm toast.
You're done. Yeah.
And that's a very challenging part of our business. It's like being competitive, being able to deliver the level of service we want to deliver, and also being profitable.
Yeah. And you want the good guys to stay in business, right? So you don't want it to be a race to the bottom. How low can you go as far as price is concerned? But I want to get into something that I've seen happen multiple times, and listeners probably have experienced this as well, where contractor walks off the job, they stop showing up, and you've already paid them a deposit and yada, yada, yada. Yeah. How detailed should the payment schedule be? I've seen guys who are like, oh man, I got to pay my guys. I got to pay my guys. I got to mobilize my guys, right? So they 50% up front, and then they do 2 weeks of work and it's not done, but then you don't see them anymore. And now you got to get another contractor to take over the work that they did start. And contractors, as you know, hate that. Yeah. Having to go over somebody else's work. So talk through how that should work.
The payment schedule should be pretty basic. I mean, it is usually typically 50% up front, or they'll break it out depending on the longevity of the project and what's involved, right? Like if we're doing a year-long project and if it's a multifaceted issue, then we do want to take some draws to get us
along the way.
Yeah, 100%. And I really think the biggest thing, again, comes back down to trust of the contractor that you're working with. Like, if someone's having those types of issues, which typically is a red flag that they're not going to be the best fit for you, because if they're broke coming into the job and they're constantly like, I need my money, I need my money, I need my money, they're probably robbing Peter to pay Paul on other jobs. And that's a huge red flag. And so with us, sometimes I take the deposit up front. Sometimes I'm so busy I can't get to it till later. But we have signed paperwork. And so I really try to just be, obviously black and white's important. We need fine print. It's in place to help people, hold people to the agreements of the contract. But at the same time, I'm trying to work with people, work with where they're at, and try to be fluid in that. You know, I have a customer right now. They just found out they need a new AC unit. They already decided to go with us with their windows and their siding project. And she's like, Jonathan, I just dropped 20 grand on an AC unit with another company. I'm like, I understand, but let's
20 grand on an AC unit.
High efficiency though. Inverter. Carrier.
Okay, well, you're talking above my head at this point, but 20 grand for an AC unit, unless it's a commercial building, I don't know, bro.
No. I asked them that too, because I didn't know their AC broke and they didn't call me. They went a different direction. But man, with AC units, this is an insider.
Yeah.
Insider. You're getting an insider scoop, everybody.
Give it to us.
So you're literally buying the brand.
Yeah.
Because Carrier makes Bryant, Lennox makes Duquesne, and a Train makes American Standard. Same exact unit. It's just a different sticker. But if you're a branded person, if you want Carrier, and this people did, they wanted a Carrier unit. Not only did they want a Carrier, they wanted a high efficiency unit. You're going to pay for it. It's just the way it is. My dad being a 40-year AC contractor, we've seen it all. And we know we can get really good units for way less than that. I mean, if you want to save money on our energy bill, there's inverters we sell that are competitive to that 20 grand all day long. We sell those a lot. I love those systems. We sell a lot of inverters. But yeah, it's really, you're paying for it.
Hey, listen, my AC blows snowballs, and mine was nowhere close to that. I got 2 brand new units, outside, inside, the whole thing. And I got a new unit in 2019 and one in 2016. And both of them, I mean, they would cost me like $7,000 each for a total unit. So, I mean, my AC guy, he took care of me. But what would make you nervous if a contractor asked for it? Is it I don't know, large upfront payment? I guess large is relative, but cash only?
I mean, definitely, cash only. I would definitely.
No insurance.
Yeah. I would definitely cash only. Do your research, do some digging. If you're going to spend a lot of money and have these people in your house and doing this type of work, you really need to do your due diligence, truly. It's not hard. Everything's online. Look at reviews, look at Better Business Bureau, go to the DBPR. Are they a licensed contractor? You can type in their ABC. You can type in their company name.
You can pull up anybody's active license.
100%.
But a common fear is that a renovation is going to start at one price and then end at a completely different number. So why do projects go over budget? Is that part of the trade? What's the deal behind that?
I think you're talking about going over budget, saying they signed.
Oh, well, they quoted a price, and then before you know it, it's this is going to actually cost you about 20 grand more than we originally said. So I can't do it for less. And you're like, what? Now you're stuck at this price that you agreed on, but what you have to pay to get it done.
Yeah. Primarily when you're sitting down with the contractor, what I like to do is I like to talk about the unforeseens that are unforeseen. Truly unforeseen. For example, if we do a roof replacement, I cannot tell what level of
rotted boards there are. Yeah,
exactly. And so by code, I need to be able to nail directly to the deck, and that we're going to have a deck inspection to pass final inspection. So I'm having that conversation up front. This is how much extra each piece of wood is. This is how much this is.
But are you building a buffer into your pricing then? Just to say, hey, the price that I give you covers 5 boards. If 5 boards are rotted when we get up there.
What I like to do is I like not to get rich on the change orders, which is not a standard practice in the construction space. It's people see change orders as an opportunity to make more money. And it's just if I'm the customer and my contractor just came back to me and said, hey, it's going to be an extra $10,000 that I wasn't expecting, that we've already have an agreement on. That's not going to be of a good feeling. It's not going to be a fun conversation. It's not ideal, right? Yeah. So with Kelly Shrout, like she had a lot of change orders that she needed to address. We didn't make a lot of money on them. The profit margins are very small, but Kelly's super happy with the project, would highly recommend us again. We made money on the majority of the project. Profit margins are good, so I have a different approach on change orders. I'm not trying to get rich off these change orders. I'm trying to think about what if I was in that situation and I had to come up with an extra $5, $10, or $20,000. Am I in the position to do that? Because that's a hard conversation to have. That's a hard position to be in for any homeowner. But that being said, I really like to get in front of the situation in the beginning. Like having the conversation up front. Hey, this is what we could potentially run into. Like we just did a pool resurface. Pool resurfaces you're only supposed to take off like the first layer and then you can Bondo to it. But if that layer that you're taking off is soft and you're having trouble finding a hard layer on that pool, you got to demo it all the way down. So like when we have to do that, if I'm replastering a pool and I have to take an inch off or an inch and a half, whatever it is, to get down to the base core shell of that pool, I'm going to spend more money on plaster. I don't want to do that. Right. And so, but I did have to charge the customer, this just happened in Longwood, the price to demo it out. And I just gave it to him my cost. This is what my cost is. My cost to get my guys out here and demo this out is $3,400. That's what you got to pay. I'm not trying to make a dollar more. I just want to get through the project. We're this far. We've already drained the pool. We're already deep in it. So I think one, it helps serve the client better. And two, it helps just a smooth transition of getting through the projects. Because the last thing you want to do is hit somebody with a $10,000 change order and now they're digging their heels in and now they don't want to finish their project. Now they don't want to pay you. Now they want to sue you. Like that. I don't want any of that. I just want to get on and get off.
How do you deliver bad news to a homeowner when the project encounters something unexpected? Like what?
So for example, with this pool, I was in Geneva and they're 45 minutes away. So I called Bill and I said, Bill, listen, we found some stuff. I need to come by. I want to talk to you in person. So I drove all the way over there, an hour out of my day, and said, hey,
which would make me very nervous as a homeowner. I'm like, you got to drive 45 minutes to come tell me something about my project in person?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm nervous.
They were not happy about it. They had a very bad experience with an electrician who did some work and then hit them with like this, just like you said, like this big change order after the project started. And I said, listen, before we started, I talked about this potentially being an issue. I wanted to come here in person and to show you my partner who holds the license on the phone. And he explained, hey, listen, if this was my pool, this is what I would do. You don't have to do this, but I would highly recommend it given what we're seeing here. The pool hadn't been resurfaced in 46 years. I mean, it was really bad.
Right.
So at the end of it, Bill, the homeowner was like, man, Jonathan, thank you so much for taking your time out to like personally come down here and handle this for me. I know it wasn't easy dealing with the situation, but I really feel that you guys care and you guys are trying to do the right thing by us. And I think it's really just going the extra mile for the customers when they're in these situations to show them like, hey, I'm in your corner. I'm not trying to take advantage of you, but this is what we're dealing with. We talked about this pre-signing the contract and here we are. Let's work through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's good, man. A large portion of our audience works in real estate or they own property. Which renovations typically have the greatest effect on the way buyers perceive a home? Like, is it kitchens and bathrooms? Because that's what everybody always says. Is that a real thing or what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. We look at a ton of different properties, pre-listing, post-listing, and especially in this market right now, we're in 2026, tons of inventory. The buyer pool is huge. If I'm selling a house in a 5 to 10 mile radius and there's 90 other houses and I'm a buyer, I'm going to try to find the best house in the area that I want to live in.
I got options.
Right. I think bare minimum floors and paint are a great place to start. It really just says something to buyers is like, oh, this place looks freshly done. And if you can squeeze a kitchen in, I highly recommend it because that's really the showpiece. The bathrooms, the beautiful thing about bathroom remodels is they're contained. When you're doing any type of remodeling or demolition, if I have to change the floors, you have to move everything out. If you redo the kitchen, you can't eat in the kitchen, you can't use the kitchen, right? It makes the house not functional, but I can go back as a homeowner later on and remodel one bathroom at a time with no pain to my family, no hotel costs. So really like it's floors, paint, kitchen. That's as high as I would go. Like I just flipped a home with my partner in DeLand, exactly the strategy we use. Floors, paint, kitchen. Got it sold, had to do that. Listed for a year, couldn't get it sold. Once we updated it, sold in like 2 months.
I remember that one. Are there any improvements that improve a homeowner's daily experience but they may not see an equal financial return when they go to sell it. Like, for instance, we all know that you might spend $20,000 on a roof, $15,000, $20,000 on a roof, but that does not increase your value by $15,000 to $20,000. Doesn't mean that you can sell your house for that much more. Are there any things on the inside? I mean, because you have to have a roof. It doesn't necessarily improve your quality of life, but are there any improvements that, I don't know, it costs $15,000, $20,000 to put a cage over the pool?
Yeah.
Right? The screen.
Yep.
But that doesn't increase your value by $20,000 because you put that up there. But you also don't get eaten up by mosquitoes because you put it up either.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you think of anything else that falls into that category?
Upgrading the windows are going to increase the value. Like you said, you're not going to get dollar for dollar on any of it, right?
Yeah.
The roof, the windows. But the windows are definitely helpful, especially in Florida with the humidity and stuff, the issues that we have. Homeowners do look at the windows. Again, kitchen, paint, drywall, paint finishes, and flooring's a big one. I know I talked about it, but the type of floor that you use, like for example, like when we do LVP, a lot of contractors do that. Man, my wife and I, when we were shopping for our first home last 2 years, we went to a ton of flips. And we're looking around and we're like, man, these contractors are awful. Like, I cannot believe these investors, these flippers put these floors in. And it's just like, yes, you can put LVP in, but you need to start at a certain tier level of quality if you're going to do that, because one, someone's going to be dealing with that in the next 2 to 3 years and it's going to fail because it's the cheapest stuff that you can get. And like the other thing is like the look of that, you can feel that as you're walking around on the property, like the buyer can feel that as they're coming around. Like it's a huge deal. So like we do many different types of flooring. We do tile, we do micro cement. So there's some customization we can do. Obviously that would be for somebody that's really wanting to customize their home and make it really something unique.
Yeah. I like the idea of the partnership between you and the agent. My thought is that if someone's thinking about selling their home, they should get with their agent, who obviously is looking at a lot of homes, helping other clients look at homes, knows how the market is trending, but also where that agent can now partner with you and say, hey, here's something that we're beginning to see, so that they're not either overspending or updating it in a way that it's kind of that passing trend. Remember, and everything was gray and white?
Yeah.
You remember that trend? And everybody was doing it. Every flipper, everybody. And then even buyers started saying, I want my house to look like this.
Right.
And then there was this time where that ship sailed.
Yes.
And some people were still doing it. And their houses were sitting on the market longer because people didn't want that anymore.
Yeah, it's over.
So when do you think that a homeowner should bring a real estate agent into the equation? At what point should they bring them in if they're thinking about selling their house?
I think immediately. I definitely really putting a plan together, working with professionals, and to the homeowners out there, like once you've established trust with whoever, realtor, contractor, mortgage broker, you need to really lean on their expertise if you trust them. I think that's one of the biggest things I see with sellers is they hire a professional like yourself or like me, and then they just want to drive the ship. And it's like, well, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? Like I'm here to help you, and I have extensive knowledge in this area, and I need you to let go and trust me. This was wild, man. I had this agent refer me over. It was yours. It was, so I get in the picture, give them a consult, and then I start to put all the pieces together. They've gotten offers for $300,000 on this house, and they didn't take them. And the ARV is like $360,000. And we're talking about a full renovation of like $100,000. And I'm like, I get through the process, like an hour consult, talking to the realtor, all the pieces. And I get done and I'm like, listen, you should have taken that $300,000 offer. You missed it. And she's like, really? I'm like, yes, that is a great offer. Cause I gave her my cash offer. And I'm like, this is the offer you're going to get from all the investors. So the realtor calls me after the fact. She goes, Jonathan, I'm so happy you talked to them because now they're going to listen to me and they're going to sell.
Right.
So it's like, to your question, like when should we bring someone in, right? Like bring us all in, because it's like everybody's contributing their knowledge and their wisdom. And this helps the seller come to a decision to go, okay, I see it now. I'm ready to listen and move forward, right?
You know what's funny about that is that they hired that agent, didn't hire me, and I forget exactly why. But then when they started running into issues, then they called me and asked me for my advice. I connected them with you. Again, a trusted person sends them to a trusted individual, trusted company. And then you actually end up helping that agent to get it sold. right? I mean, you can't make this stuff up, bro.
No, man.
It's great. It's great. All right, Jonathan, this has been an incredibly valuable conversation. I mean, what I appreciate the most is that construction isn't only about materials, tools, and completed projects. This is about trust. It's about communication. It's about stewardship, as we talked about. And it's about taking responsibility for something that matters deeply to someone else. So thank you for giving homeowners a better understanding of the process and being honest about what it takes to build a company while protecting your value.
Amen.
Where can people connect with you and learn more about Kingdom Construction Group?
Best way really is text or call, and I'll give you my number here. It's 407-436-4058. If you need anything at all, anyone listening with your home, with real estate, with construction, feel free to call us. We would love to serve you guys. That's what we're here for. You know, at the end of the day, it's all about serving people and sowing those seeds, and it comes back to us.
There we go. There we go. And we're going to include Jonathan's information and Kingdom Construction Group's resources in the show notes, so you can check that out on YouTube. To everyone who's watching or listening, you're thinking about beginning a renovation, make sure you do your homework, ask the questions, put things in writing, and choose the right people who you trust with your home carefully. Subscribe to the Leverage Lounge and share this episode with a homeowner or a real estate professional who needs to hear it, and join us for the next conversation. Until next time, keep building with intention and keep looking for more ways to create more leverage in your life. We'll see you next time.